Hi, I'm Liam and this is Book of Films. When I came out of the cinema after the midnight screening of The Last Jedi, I was happy and I was pleased with the film, the characters, the action, and the theme that it explored. My joy was harmless, but as time passed and as the Star Wars community ripped itself apart, I found that my enjoyment of the film had become a viewpoint I had to defend, rather than a feeling I could, just feel. So naturally, I think it's our turn on the channel to talk about what went wrong or what people don't like about The Last Jedi. However, instead of pointing out its pros and its cons like a million other people have done, I'm going a different route, and I'm going to look at The Force Awakens and why what that film set up meant that The Last Jedi was always going to fail, no matter its quality. I'm a big fan of J.J. Abrams. I think he's a great guy and I think he makes a lot of great films that I really like. However, I do not like The Force Awakens. I feel like it has little impact on pop culture, I feel like it's overly safe and mass-produced and too familiar, but most importantly, I feel like it doesn't leave viewers satisfied. It's a question without an answer. You may have seen it already, but JJ had a fantastic TED Talk back from 2008 where he discussed the idea of the mystery box. I'll let him explain the premise.
The thing is that it represents infinite possibility. It represents hope. It represents potential. And what I love about this box, and what I realized I sort of do in whatever it is that I do, is I find myself drawn to infinite possibility and that sense of potential. And I realize that mystery is the catalyst for imagination. Now, it's not the most groundbreaking idea, but when I started to think that maybe there are times when mystery is more important than knowledge.
I love the idea, and he goes on to explain further how it relates to his film and how the mysteries they hold at their centre drive them, but I believe he's missed the most important part of his own theory. A film that asks big questions needs big answers. Setup requires payoff, and while not every question needs an answer, the longer you leave a mystery, the more infinite the possibilities for the answer. The Force Awakens is a film that doesn't answer most of its own questions. J.J. Abrams utilised the power of the mystery box by presenting one to the audience in 2015, but not opening it until 2 long years later. It doesn't sound like long, but given that Star Wars is arguably the biggest pop culture franchise in existence, as well as the fact that fans had waited 30 years to see the return of their original trilogy characters, it all begins to reach boiling point. By adding more mystery on top of the existing questions fans had for the future of the franchise, fans were left to stew and theorise, and with the internet bringing the world together, people could easily see the infinite possibilities and theories for the future films. Rey was a Kenobi, Snoke is Plagueis, who are the Knights of Ren? The list of questions went on and on. So when The Last Jedi rolls around and chooses some distinctly unique answers that were quite uncharacteristic for Star Wars, fans were not happy. But this isn't Rian Johnson's fault. Had J.J. Abrams continued his franchise, still the questions and theories outweighed the answers. How can you even beat infinite possibilities? Even if he'd chosen very Star Warsy, very typical answers to those questions, fans would still not be happy, because the expectations we set ourselves are way too high to be met. There is no way we can please everyone in this situation, no matter who made the films following or their quality. The Force Awakens is quite literally unleashing the power of the mystery box in the best and worst way possible. Just to dig a little deeper, let's look at JJ's comments on A New Hope from that very same talk. He mentions,
like Star Wars, you got the droids, they meet the mysterious woman. Who's that? We don't know. Mystery box, Then you meet Luke Skywalker, he gets the droid, you see the holographic image, you learn, oh, it's a message, she wants to, find Obi-Wan Kenobi, he's her only hope. But who the hell is Obi-Wan Kenobi? Mystery box. So then you go and he meets Ben Kenobi's uncle is Obi-Wan Kenobi, holy shit, So it keeps it... Have you guys not seen that? It's huge.
Every question he mentions there drives the plot in the same way The Force Awakens does, but every question he mentioned there is also answered. I know it was just an example he gave, and back in 2008 he'd have no idea that he'd be directing Star Wars in 8 years' time, but it's a fantastic insight into the two films and their similarities and differences. Looking at The Force Awakens, we're left with so many questions. Who are Rey's parents? Who is Snoke? Who are the Knights of Ren? What's Luke been up to? Does Leia have the Force? Random questions, big and small. The list goes on. Had this film had a solid ending and a sense of finality, perhaps the weight could have been lifted slightly. The big twist works better in the original trilogy because we believed we knew the truth about Luke's father, only to have our perspective changed. When the new trilogy could be anything, there's no shock, only disappointment in the reveal, no matter who it was. That being said, I still love the idea of the mystery box. It works best in my opinion in JJ's Cloverfield universe, with the idea that this unexplained, potentially alien phenomena affects everyone on the entire Earth. Quite literally anything can happen. And the key change between Cloverfield and Star Wars is that the characters are experiencing the same confusion and mystery as the viewer. It's a completely different climate when the questions don't have to be answered, and it feels more cathartic for the characters because they won't find out the same mysteries as the viewer. We're not left behind. So another problem I have with The Force Awakens and the effect that it has, especially as the characters are largely aware of what's happened in that 30-year time gap, but viewers are kept in the dark. We don't know. We know less than the characters. It causes an emotional dissonance between the characters and the viewers, and it leads to even more questions. Regardless, I could go on endlessly about this. I find it fascinating, but in the end, J.J. Abrams created a film with so much possibility, so much mystery, that the expectations it caused could never be met, no matter the director, no matter the story. Good or bad things aside, I think it's a really badass thing to accomplish that he's basically set the bar so high, and The Last Jedi, to me, is not at fault. To me, it's a problem that The Force Awakens has with that style of filmmaking. It shows the true power of the mystery box in action. Only time will tell to see if JJ can finish the franchise in a way that answers the questions that he set up in 2015. Anyways, my name is Liam. Thank you for watching.